Welcome to the last episode of Inside the Huddle. I'm Jade.
I'm Dietrick.
I'm Olivia.
I'm Abbie.
In today's episode, we will talk about how NFL dominates not just TV, but mobile devices, fantasy leagues, and social platforms, and how this second screen culture is reshaping fan interaction. Let's get started.
Okay, so how do y'all normally watch football? I know, Dietrich, you said in the last episode that you don't really watch sports, but like, are y'all more of like whenever you do watch it, are y'all like locked into what we're watching, or are you like one of those people that is like you have the game on, but you're on like four different apps or like checking in with like other things at the same time?
I mean, for me, I think it depends on like what game it is, like what's the event. If it's just like a random game, then like, especially if I have no ties to any of the teams, I'm probably just gonna have it on and like just be scrolling through TikTok or Instagram. We're doing whatever.
Yeah, I did think it depends on like what week of the NFL it is. Like if there's multiple games that I want to watch, I'll probably have on like if the Packers are playing, I'll have on the Packers and then kind of scroll on Instagram to see what other like highlights are coming from other games or kind of try and watch like the halftime reports. I don't like people like the people who like switch channels like between games and stuff. And so I try to not do that. But I kind of I feel like I stay more locked in rather than like on social media between games.
I think it like depends. If like there's a good play, then I'll go back to like Twitter and I'll type it in and see what they're saying. See like, what like if they agree with me or if they don't. But also like flags. Like if there's a flag and like people don't really it was like a questionable flag, then I'll look on social media. But for the most part, I'll probably just be on the game, like watching the game. Unless there's a commercial. Because they have a lot of commercials.
You have so
Yeah,
many commercials.
I completely agree. Like if there's a controversial call, like I'm running to social media because I have to know. Because usually like ESPN or like someone will report on it and be like, "Do y'all think or do y'all agree with this call?"
I'm kind of, I guess I'm kind of both also. Like, Um, I'll watch the game depending on who's playing and if it's like a high stakes game or not. Um, Sometimes like normally if I'm watching a Clemson game, like if I'm sitting at home watching a game, like I'll be locked in and I'll be trying to figure out like what's going on. But like I don't really watch a ton of NFL. Um, so I guess like college and NFL sports are different. So like if there's an NFL game on, then I'll probably be a little more on like scrolling on other apps or like kind of looking up at the screen every now and then. But again, it depends on like the stakes of the game and who's playing. Um, so between like the CBS, Fox, NBC, ESPN, and other streaming platforms, um, like, do you think that the NFL being on that many platforms is the main reason why other sports are losing viewers, or do you think that there's other like factors into why other sports could be losing viewers?
I mean, I think the NFL being on like so many different streaming networks is kind of like, it ties directly into like why it's there in the first place. Like it wouldn't be on so many like networks if people didn't like to watch it. Um, so I feel like because they like produce so many like numbers and like bring in so much revenue that I feel like it's obviously like multiple people or like multiple different sites are going to be like, hey, like let's like add this onto our like like our program because like obviously they're doing numbers. And then on the flip side, like, obviously you wouldn't want to like waste your time and your like resources putting like let's say just like a random sport that like really nobody watches. Like I don't know, like if somebody were to film like underwater basket weaving or something, like you're not gonna like take the time out of your day to like put millions of dollars into that and put it on like Fox or NBC or something like that, and like you can have something that's like more worthwhile for like viewers to actually watch.
But do you think if, let's say hockey, if hockey is on the same platforms and is showed as much as the NFL, do you think they'll have more or they'll have the same viewership and bring in the same revenue as NFL if they have the same opportunity to be played as much as the NFL does?
Honestly, no, I don't. Like obviously, like we know, like hockey's a pretty like it's one of the big ones. Like it's a pretty known sport. But given that like football is like so like I don't know, it's like it's literally like everywhere. Like I feel like it'd be hard for like a hockey to come in and like kind of fill in like a gap or like kind of like be like another NFL when it comes to like bringing in viewers and like revenue. Like, do I think yes, like it would attract more people to the sport? Yeah, for sure. Because like obviously the more you see something, like the more you'll be like interested by it. But I feel like it would be kind of hard to, I guess, like mirror what like the NFL's done.
I know, like personally, like kind of talking about the hockey thing, like because the playoffs are starting soon because obviously we can't have an episode where I don't talk about hockey. And I know that like with the playoffs, they are more nationally televised, but like it's only whenever it's like the higher stakes games. Like with the NFL, you have like so many different like broadcasts and so many different channels that it's on throughout the season. Hockey, you really only get like the mainstream TV whenever it's like the high stakes, like the Winter Classic, the Stadium Series, or like the playoffs. So I kind of agree with Dietrich. Like it might bring some viewership, but like it's not as widely known in the first place, I guess, as football is. Okay, so kind of talking about Olivia, I know you mentioned it earlier how there were like if there were multiple games on that you wanted to watch, they have NFL Red Zone where you can watch multiple games at one time. Um, how do you think that, like, do you think that that is helpful for most fans, or do you think that like some fans are like diehard fans of one specific team and they only want to watch like that game and they don't want to watch whatever else is happening in the league?
I think honestly, a lot of men love Red Zone. And that might just be because like I've only experienced it like with men and like they like because I feel like men generally just enjoy football or whatever sport more, whereas like women are usually rooting for a team, and that's just like my experience. That's not everyone's experience. But I remember watching, I think it was Texas A&M, or there it was some Texas game, and Tennessee was also playing a big game that weekend. And my brother-in-law insisted on having both screens up, and I was like, no, like we can't do that. And he was like, well, then we're gonna have to switch like through channels. Like we're not like we can't not watch both games. And so I think it's just like one of those things where like some people enjoy like just the atmosphere of like a good football game, and like others just enjoy a team. And I think that's what like differentiates like if you like red zone and if you don't. But I think also like a lot of people like I feel like a lot of people are really passionate about it. Like either you love it or you hate it, and there's no just like I don't really care. Like it is what it is.
I try to watch it. I got overstimulated though, because you get into one and then there's a big play on one and then you miss it. Then you have to go back and forth. It's too much for me, but I know a lot of people that do like it. So it's just not my thing.
Yeah, no, I like my brothers watch it. I have three older brothers, so they always get to like control what's on TV. And so anytime it's on, I'm like sitting there and I'll like get really invested into a game and then it'll switch to another game and it's like, but look what's happening here. And I was like, wait, no, but like what was happening in the last game? Like I can't keep up whenever it's just like going back and forth. I think it'd be different if it was just like the four, like whenever it's like the four screen and you can like watch four different games at like one time. But like whenever it flips back and forth, it gets so confusing. I like don't know how men do it.
Yeah, for sure. I know now they've like implemented you can like have one as your like major screen. So like you can listen to one and then you don't listen to the rest. which that still is like really confusing for me because I'm like watching one side of the screen, but they're talking about the other. But yeah, I don't know how people do it. I would rather like be on like Instagram and have a game up versus trying to keep up with all those. But kind of going off of that, like the second screen concept of just either like just watching TV or you have like your Twitter up, your Instagram up, like whatever you are having just to watch these games. Um, what do y'all think is like the most popular? I know like for me, I see now that like sports betting is really popular, so they're probably either gonna have like their DraftKings or their fantasy football or like whatever up. But like me personally, like I just keep up an Instagram and it's not like running. It's like Jade said, like during commercials or something.
I like Twitter because I can do like the latest and see what like people are talking about the, I guess, most recent. So that's why I like Twitter. And then Instagram takes a little while. They're a little behind. And I feel like Twitter's just like right away. So that's why I use Twitter.
Yeah, I mean, you always see like the Twitters and like the Snapchats where like people are always like it's like so easy to like just like get something out, post it right now. Um, whereas like, like with an Instagram, like you get, stuff from a little bit everywhere. Like it could be like, your auntie's trip to, I don't know, Cabo or something like that. And then like a couple scrolls down, there's like, oh, this happened in football a couple days ago. But Twitter's like always running like it's I don't know, it's like a market almost like I feel like Twitter is the most fast paced, I guess, like site that people use, especially for like one politics and sports. So I would say like I would prefer to use Twitter to get like any of my information.
You know that like coming from someone who has run a social for like an athletics team, it is like just easier to just like send out a quick tweet. So like that's why the Instagram posts take longer. So like I would agree with you, like if you want like updates on something or like you want people's immediate reactions to something, Twitter would probably be the best place to get it just because it does take time to like edit photos or edit videos and get like that content up. But like when you're tweeting, you can just be like, oh my, like OMG, like this happened, or like, how are we feeling about this, or like blah, blah, blah. Um, Personally, I think that I'm a little bit ADHD. So whenever there's a like show or like not a show, a game on, I will be scrolling on TikTok. Um, and I will be like going down rabbit holes on TikTok, like while actively also paying attention to the football game. So that's probably my second screen. Probably not the smartest thing because I always look up and I'm like, wait, what just happened? Um, but yeah, I feel like Twitter's probably most people's like most like big fans of sports. It's probably their go-to just because it is so accessible and so like immediate to like get um like the content that they're looking for, I guess.
Yeah, and kind of going off of like you talking about going down rabbit holes or like while a game is on, how do y'all think it's changing? Like that second screen concept is changing fan engagement within sports, whether that's like in person or like watching from home.
I mean, there's like just so many different ways that people can like, like put in like their 2 cents or like, repost a video. Like it's stuff everywhere now. Um, and a lot of it isn't even like for the sport itself. It's because they know people will be attracted to it. Like there's going to be, I don't know, like let's say like a football team like makes a good play or whatever like that. Like there's going to be somebody recording it. They're going to get that out. Once that gets out, somebody's going to take that, share it. Somebody else is going to share it, like it, comment on it, and then there can be like another person that's like, oh, like this is obviously like pretty like clicked on, looked at, whatever. Like let me take this and make it into something like completely different. Like let's add like another element to it. Like let's make an edit or something like that. So I feel like really everything that like social media has done with like just fan engagement, like it's made it a lot like easier. It's like just readily available for anybody to do anything with.
I agree. I like see a play and yeah, like ESPN will post a play and it might be a game that I completely forgot was even on. Actually, that's happened a lot. And I'll go and then I'll turn on the game because I completely forgot it was even on and I wouldn't have known that without social media. And I think that also happened with the WNBA draft. I had no idea it was on. I saw it over social media and then I was like, damn, I wish I watched it. I didn't even know it was on. So I think they do a good job at bringing fans in, but I wish they posted more like this game is on now or like if that makes any sense.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. Like I saw like the WNBA draft like aftermath like all over TikTok and like what people are saying about like some of the commentary from it. But I also had no idea what was going on. And I think, like you said, like a great way to bring fans in is just to post like, oh, this is happening tonight. And I think like there are certain accounts like ESPNW posted about it, but I think like ESPN or like bigger like Sports Center, like those bigger outlets could also like promote those type of events.
I think that like the recaps of things also help because like with the WNBA, like I don't watch basketball. I have no idea what's going on in the world of women's basketball. But like I'm nosy and I have FOMO, so I like I won't watch the actual draft, but I will look and see like who went number one or like that like where people that have been talked about throughout the entire season have gone, just so like I can know that for my own personal gain or my own personal knowledge for no reason. But like also I don't have to watch the whole thing in order to know that. I think that that helps with like a lot of people who are like semi-interested, but like not really like interested enough to sit down and watch the whole thing. With like the recaps, they're still getting the engagement of the fans, but like without making the fans actually have to sit down and watch.
The crazy thing now is like kind of leads perfectly into like the next segment. Um, a lot of people now, especially with like sports betting, are like they want to sit down and they want to watch the whole game, whether they're like there in person or not. Like I've had so many friends that like I've just been around and and like mind you, these aren't even the teams that they claim to like love. But they have a parlay or like they put money on a specific aspect or a specific stat line, and they're glued to the TV screen, like they're emotionally invested. And I'm like, I actually think like that's like gotten a lot of more like engagement and viewership like from just fans like everywhere. Because like I'd be locked into a game too if I knew I needed Kyrie to get 15 assists and it was the fourth quarter with 30 seconds left and he has 14 assists. Like it's going to attract people. Like what like that like do y'all think that's like a positive thing though? Like it's not just like love of the game now, it's love of the game plus like I can get something out of this. Like if I like if I watch this and like see like how people are doing.
I think to an extent it is positive, but then there's like the line a lot of people cross of like commenting on athletes' Instagrams, like, oh, like you ruined my parlay or whatever. And I see that a lot, like, oh, like even now, like ESPN will post like a highlight of like LeBron James, and it's like, oh, well, if he would have scored this many more points, like my parlay would have hit or whatever they say. Something like along those lines and stuff. So I think there is like for bringing in fans, I think it's a great way to bring in fans, but I think sometimes people get a little too invested or just like bet a little too much money on it. And that's when it kind of gets a little concerning.
I don't know what a parlay is. I actually have no idea what it is. What is it?
It's just a term like that they use in betting. It's like you have
And
legs in certain things. Like I don't,
it like
really,
you like have
but still know I know about it.
you have like multiple bets set at like one time. This is my understanding of it. You have like multiple bets set at one time, and if like all of the bets hit, then your parlay hits. And so like if all of your bets go through, then you get like more money than you would with just like one of your bets going in.
Oh,
And so like there's like one, there might be like one that people don't, or they're like, oh, like I only needed this one for me to get like thousands of more dollars than I would have regularly betting. That's how I see it, or that's how I understood it. Because I had to look it up too. I had no idea what it was, but I've seen it commented too many times.
I personally think people have too much time on their hands to be doing all that. But in Sam's class last semester, we did fantasy football. It was last semester, right?
Hmm.
And I was really into it. Like I've never done it before, but I was really into it and it made me more into like the game. So I started watching football more and like getting into like certain players because I wanted to win. Like I'm a competitive person. So I do think fantasy football like has helped, but the betting and all that other stuff, I think that it's a little too much.
I mean, and then like speaking backing off of what you just said, like people do bet with fantasy too. Like, um, just like I said, like it's just another way to like be engaged. Um, like it's kind of hard for you to, be managing a team, well, which is what we were doing last semester. Like, he had us like actually managing our specific teams, and like we had to make all the trades and like request trades, like move around people spots. Had to go through the whole draft thing. So like, I feel like if one you didn't already know a little bit something about like certain players, and then if you didn't keep up with it, like it became very bad very fast because like you're just one injury away from like your entire team like crashing and burning. And I think honestly, yeah, I think it was pretty fun, but when you see it like in just like the public like perception, like it can generate like a lot of like positive like just viewership. So like honestly though, I think I'm starting to think that like it's more about the money now, like with it now, like, but I don't know, like I don't know if it's like a team thing or like a specific player thing. Obviously, you're always gonna have your fanatics, who are all about their team, who like care less if they win or lose. But like do y'all think like with the betting aspect of it, like with the FanDuel and like all this stuff, do y'all think it's like becoming more like personal, like oh, like this specific player is yada yada yada, and instead of like a whole like a holistic team like outlook on things?
Um, I think I think people like I said, people have too much time on their hands and they take it too far. Like I know one of my friends will like get hate comments because he got hurt. And then they're like, you ruined my fantasy team, like you are this, and like calling him in all kinds of names. Like he doesn't already feel worse, but I think like that's when people take it too far and they care more about like the player than the team. So I guess there's a fine line between like being a fan and just doing it for like the money.
Yeah, I agree. I remember when the Ravens lost in the playoffs. I forget who it was. It was their tight end. He like missed the catch. And he literally had to like go and release a statement on his Instagram, because he was getting like so many hate comments, like you ruined everything, like you're just the worst. And I think that's when it gets like too personal and too excessive when you go and you take it to like that extent.
Yeah, I think that my brother has too much time on his hands, so he likes to sports bet sometimes. But like the way that he does it, he likes to torture me by doing it. Like he'll be playing his game with his friends, and one of his friends is like a hockey fan, so he'll just call me into his room and he'll like make these bets based off of what I say. And then he'll literally just be like, okay, tell me how they do. And like he just completely ignores the rest of the game. And I'm like, okay, well, now you've put these bets on me, so now I'm gonna take it personally, and it's not even my money on the line. And then I'm gonna like sit there, not even like I don't know how people enjoy the game if they bet because I'm watching this game knowing that my brother stupidly put money on it. It's not even my money that I'm losing, but now I'm pissed because the people that I was like, oh, he should score more than one goal tonight, and he didn't. So now I'm mad at my own team because my brother decided to place bets. Like, I genuinely don't know how, like, I guess, like, if you win enough, it's like a dopamine thing. Like, if you win, you're like, oh, like, I win, I can keep going. But, like, I don't think I could ever do it. I'm not built for sports betting, is what I've decided from my brother.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, you do make a good point. Like, I can't see like how you can like actually be really into like the game if like you're specifically worried about like one or two things. Like if it's soccer, like how many goals or how many touches this player is going to get, or basketball, how many shots is this person going to take up. It's actually like it's pretty crazy. But I mean, it's putting up numbers, so like it's something's obviously working. But I mean, I don't know. I feel like it's making I feel like it's making sports like more engaging than like ever. Obviously, like there's like negatives that come with it, and it creates a lot more pressure for the players. And the crazy thing is, the players, mo like 9 times out of 10, don't even know that these like bets are, like are held against them. Like, yeah, sometimes like players will check it out and be like, oh, like I'm supposed to like people are expecting me to get X amount of assists or passes or whatever like that. But typically, like especially with players that are like kind of locked into the game, like they don't care. They're just out there balling or whatever they do. I don't know the term for hockey, but yeah, like I don't know. It does create a lot more pressure when you can think you've played a great game and then you check Twitter and they're like, oh, so and so you suck. Like I'm like, damn, like we won. What happened? Like, but I don't know. I think it's crazy. It's a lot to unpack with that for sure.
So, I don't know if y'all have seen, but like I would personally say that the Chargers have the best. I think we talked about it a little earlier, but the Chargers have the best NFL social media um platform, especially their TikToks, I would say is like the best. So, what is your favorite piece of non-game content from an NFL team or player? Personally, I like when they did the having the players sign the baby pic or like an old picture of them. That one was good because I think they started it and then everybody else like got on that, but that was my favorite.
One that's trending right now is like, what's your guilty pleasure song? And I really like to watch those. I've seen them more with like college. I know Alabama just posted theirs like a couple days ago. I don't know if any NFL teams have posted them, but I think those are really interesting because there's some like college football players singing like Taylor Swift songs that like a normal fan wouldn't even know. And so I think those are like interesting. But also, I think that one goes like both ways because then, especially with college football players, they want edits of themselves.
Oh
So
yeah.
then they start singing like a song that like people can easily create an edit of. But right now, I'm really liking those.
I like I like mic'd up segments, but like specifically in practice. Like I feel like if you have a player that's like super animated, like I'm gonna use Christian Wilkins as an example. They've mic'd him up multiple times, and I don't think I've ever not liked one of like the mic'd up segments that he just like if you have a player that is just making a joke out of everything and like they always like seem to be having fun. They make it look fun for the viewers as well. So, and like I guess like during the games they get a little more like intense or like angry or more into it, but I feel like in practice it's more like unserious, I guess. So like they're a lot more comfortable, so they kind of show their personality a little bit more. So I think that those are probably my favorites.
Yeah, honestly, I think that like that aspect of it is what I like the most. Like I don't really look at like total like team like stuff that they put out like online, but seeing what different players like behind the scenes, like just their everyday, what they like to post, what they like, and then like we have like a lot of streamers now too, like people that like go do whatever they play their sport throughout the day, and then like at nighttime like they're gamers or like they're doing something crazy. Like it's kind of cool to see honestly. Um, and like it kind of goes back to the last point. Like it makes a lot of people like say like, oh, like even if I don't like this sport like that much or this team that much, like this specific player like does something that I like to do. So like if he's like this similar to me, then like I wonder how like how much I would like the sport if if they can do this and like still be doing something that I like to do. So I think that's my favorite stuff to like watch.
Do you think players gain more control over their image with social media, or does it open them up to more pressure?
Both actually. Um, like I said, like you get to post, like, share, whatever. So, like if you think about it, I don't know if y'all, well, we talked about it a little bit, but the Bryce Mitchell thing, um, like I think like either last month or the month before last, like he posted some controversial stuff, and although like it wasn't, I'm pretty sure the majority of people probably didn't want to see it and thought that it was kind of disgusting. Like it shows people like who you actually are. So on one hand, yes, like it gives people a window to see like into like who you are, but depending on what you post and like what you put out, like it could also be like detrimental.
I think, like Olivia said, like the college athletes love the fan edits. So I think they love that because, they love themselves. So then they're going to post it and all that other stuff. But I also think it comes up like, because if you post the wrong thing or say the wrong thing, then the internet's on you and it's just a lot, especially for college athletes because they're so young. So it does come with a lot of pressure. But I think I mean, it just kind of depends. Like Dietrich said, it's like yes and no.
Yeah, I think it's all about how you want to be perceived as a person. And I think that's something like, I think you can say that about anyone's social media. It's just like athletes have a lot more eyes on them. And like, I would never post something that like isn't me. Like, I mean, even like on Instagram, you post kind of like your highlights of your life. Like, you don't post everything. But like, I like on TikTok or like other apps where I feel like are more like casual, like I would never post something that like doesn't represent me. And I think athletes know what is controversial and what is not. And if that's how they choose to represent themselves, then that's up to them. But I think it like y'all both said, like it's both. Um like they do have like a better perspective or like they have more control over who they are, but I think it does add more pressure to them as well.
I mean,
Yeah, I would agree. No, go ahead.
my bad. No, I think yeah, like it's kind of crazy. Like you can do a lot with like the platform that you have, and obviously like more players have like more pull. Like let's say like a K Klubnik. Honestly, like just yesterday he did the FCA thing on campus, and like that even if that's not media, like seeing like FCA Clemson post something like that, like people see this and they're like, oh, Clemson's starting quarterback is going to be having a like talking about his testimony like at FCA in front of all these like college kids. Like obviously like it's deeper than just football with him. Like it's a it's a great way to like just and like I'm pretty sure he didn't do that for publicity, like knowing Cade. Like it's a great way to like just like show people like hey who you actually are. So and then shout out to Cade for doing that too, man. Those inspiring.
Yeah, I think that because we also talked about it in class about like athletes that have somebody else run their social media. Um, so I think that like whenever it does get bad, like there is a way for them to like kind of step away from that kind of spotlight. Um, but like we were talking about it, and um I feel like a lot of athletes like they like to show what they do on their off time, and I think that like fans enjoy seeing that. Um, because like it's all about like the parasocial relationships that they form. Like whenever they see athletes doing something that they can like, oh, we like doing the same things, it helps like those relationships kind of form more. So I think that it's like it definitely has its downsides, but I feel like it has a lot of positives whenever athletes like kind of take the initiative to like show themselves on their social medias.
So my last question is, do you think that second screen like viewing is gonna be bigger in the future? Like, do you think that's gonna be like the norm? I would say 10 years from now.
I would say like the norm. I feel like people like always still want to like be locked in on one sport, like their specific team. I think like we talked about red zone earlier, like I think it's a good tool to have. Like, especially when there's a lot of good games on at one time. Like you don't want to like just stick to one. Like you want to be like, hey, like what's going on here, what's going on there. So like it's a good tool to have, but I think it's not gonna be like the bless you. It's not just gonna like take over. Um so yeah, I think it won't be the norm. I just think it'll just be something that is widely used.
Yeah, I think it'll become more popular, but I also think people will stick to like I don't think it'll take away from like watching a full game, but I do think it'll become more widely used. And I think especially like we said earlier, like during commercials and stuff.
I might have to disagree with you guys, but that's just because, as time goes on, people are so into their phones. Because of the phones, I think people like if you see from like I would say 10 years ago from now, how many children have ADHD due to technology and stuff, I think people are gonna have to do two things at once. Like it's just like Abby said. I mean, I agree. I can't even watch TV without scrolling on my phone at some point. Like I think it's just gonna become so normalized that we have to do two things at once, not just watch a game, but watch two games at once or do multiple things. That's my take.
I mean, I would
I'm
say
kind of in the middle. I'm kind of in the middle. Like I completely agree with what Jade said. Like with how children are growing up now, I feel like it's gonna be just normal for them to be watching multiple games at a time. But also like what Dietrich and Olivia were saying, like if I'm gonna turn on a game to watch, it's gonna be the game that I want to watch. Like it's gonna be my team, and I only like I don't want them talking about the other games that's happening at the moment. Like I want to watch the game play out in front of me, and then during the commercial breaks, then I'll go check the other games and like see how those are doing.
Anything else? Sound like you want to say something.
I think I'll keep though.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll got that.
Thank you for watching the last episode of Inside the Huddle. Make sure you watch all of our other videos. And that's all.
Appreciate y'all. Be an attractive male somewhere that you had never met. Like, let's keep it real.